So এখন আমরা আলোচনা করব participation in or association with the violation by others. So someone else is violating. So should you participate or should you associate? That is something we will discuss about in this segment. So participation in or association with violations by others. So members and candidates are responsible for violations in which they knowingly participate or assist. So if you knowingly participate or assist in any action যেখানে কোনো violation হচ্ছে, in that case you will be responsible. You will be violating laws or rules or regulations as well. So members and candidates are presumed to have knowledge of all applicable laws, rules, and regulations. CF Institute acknowledges that members and candidates may not recognize violations if they are not aware of all the facts giving rise to the violation. So maybe you are working with a group, working in teams. You know rules and regulations, you need to comply, but you may not have enough information. And due to lack of information, ultimately you are actually assisting, but in risk of violating rules and regulations because the activities is related to the violation. So you may not recognize the violations of others যদি you are not aware of all the facts that give rise to violation. So in this particular segment, standard 1A, knowledge of the law. So সেটা বলছে যে when members know or should know, there are cases that members and candidates know, অথবা তাদেরকে যদি তাদের এগেইনস্টে যদি এলিগেশনস আসে যে তারা বলছে যে আমি জানি না বা আমার জানার কথা না, বাট ইফ সার্কামস্টেন্সেস শো দ্যাট দে শুড নো, সো এই কারণে বলা হচ্ছে যে ইফ মেম্বার্স এন্ড ক্যান্ডিডেটস নো অর শুড নো দ্যাট দেয়ার কন্ডাক্ট মে contribute to violation of applicable laws, rules, or regulation, in that case they will be violating rules and regulations as well. So if you are assisting other people who are violating the rules and regulation, and if you know that or circumstances shows that you should know, in that case you are actually violating rules and regulations, and that is not permitted. So if a member or candidate has a reasonable grounds to believe that imminent or ongoing client or employer activities are illegal or unethical, যদি এরকম কেস হয় যে we have a reasonable grounds যে ongoing acts or imminent act about clients or employers that is illegal or unethical, members and candidates must dissociate. They must dissociate themselves from their activities. They should not participate, or they should separate themselves from the activities. এই activities তাদের করা যাবে না। এখন এরকম কেস হতে পারে you are in an organization, there is a violation happening, you are being asked to participate, you are saying that I cannot because this is violations of rules and regulations. So there is a risk that you might lose your job because you are not actually following the order of your boss or the company's top management. So in that case there will be a tension between your current job and what you are violating, and there will be, if you protect your job then you are violating rules and regulations. So what need to be done? Obviously immediately আপনাকে বলে নাই যে to leave the জবটা immediately ছেড়ে দিতে বলা হয় নাই, বাট ইন এক্সট্রিম কেসে বলা হয়েছে যে যদি এরকম এক্সট্রিম কেসেস আসে তাহলে dissociation may require member or candidate to leave his or her employment. কোনো অবস্থাতেই ultimately violation of rules and regulation নে participate করা যাবে না. So you are in a situation where the ongoing activities is actually involving violations of rules and regulation, and you are not participating in, you are dissociating yourself from that activity, but still you are being pushed or you are being forced to do that before leaving the job. যেহেতু বলা হচ্ছে in extreme cases you might need to leave the job. but before that there are some intermediate steps that might need to be taken. So you have to follow some intermediate steps, এবং এই intermediate steps গুলো কি হতে পারে সেই জিনিসগুলো নিয়ে আমরা এখন আলোচনা করব. So the first step should be attempt to stop the behavior. So your first step will be attempt to stop the behavior by bringing it to the attention of the employer through a supervisor or firm's compliance department. So you are bringing the activities in the attention of the supervisor or the compliance department to stop that behavior, that this is violations, it should not be done. Now that attempt is unsuccessful, you fail to stop it. So if this attempt is unsuccessful, the member and candidates have a responsibility to step away and dissociate from that activities. So in that case, if you are unsuccessful, if you can't stop that activities, you should step away, you should dissociate yourself from that activity. And dissociation practices, কিভাবে আপনি dissociate করবেন, এইটা ডিফার করে আলটিমেটলি আপনার job responsibilities অনুযায়ী বা environment অনুযায়ী বা situation অনুযায়ী. It will differ on the basis of members and candidates role in the investment industry. So it may include এরকম হতে পারে যে removing one's name from the written reports or recommendation. একটা recommendation যাচ্ছে, research recommendation যাচ্ছে, written report যাচ্ছে, and you are thinking it is a violation, so you are actually removing your names from that activity. Or you are asking for a different assignment, that this is not the assignment I should do, so I'm asking for a different assignment, I cannot do that, so I'm looking for another assignment that involves not violation of rules and regulations. Or you are refusing to accept a new client or continue to advise a current client, এরকম হতে পারে, কিন্তু আপনি এগুলো কিছুই করলেন না, you are inactive. So your inaction, and not only you are inactive, you are also associating in that activities. So inaction combined with continuing association with those involved in illegal or unethical conduct, that may be construed as participation or assisting in illegal or unethical activities. You are not stopping it, you are not bringing into the attention of the compliance department, you are not asking for a separate activity, you are not dissociating yourself, you are inactive, and you are also participating in the activity. That will be taken as that you are actually participating or assisting in the violation of the rules and regulations or standards. Now question হচ্ছে কোনো fellow members এর violations of rules and regulations, এটা আমরা CFA Institute কে রিপোর্ট করব কিনা. So CFA Institute encourage করেছে, that doesn't mean it's a requirement. So they encouraged members and candidates to report potential violations of code and standards committed by fellow members and candidates. So if any fellow members and candidates they violate, CFA Institute encourage করেছে, but they did not require. So যেহেতু CFA Institute require করে নাই, so if you fail to report, that will be less likely to be construed as a violation than a failure to dissociate from unethical conduct. কোন একটা unethical conduct হচ্ছে আপনাকে নিজেকে dissociate করেন নাই, তাহলে you are in risk of violating code and standards. But someone else করছে, আপনি dissociate করেছেন, কিন্তু আপনি CFA Institute কে রিপোর্ট করেন নাই, you are less likely to be construed as violating the rules and regulation. So the impact of inactivity, inactive. So if you are inactive, the impact of inactivity on the integrity of the capital markets can be significant. এই কারণে CFA Institute আপনাকে encourage করছে, but আপনাকে require করে নাই যেটা করতেই হবে. So although the code and standards do not compel members and candidates to report violations to their government or regulatory organizations, unless such disclosure is mandatory, যদি আবার regulations এরকম হয় যে এরকম certain activities আপনাকে mandatorily report করতে হবে, for example certain anti money laundering rules আছে যেখানে certain activities you are liable to report, সেরকম কেস যদি না হয় তাহলে less chance you are violating, so আপনাকে ফোর্স করা হয় নাই. So such disclosure may be prudent under certain circumstances. যদি prudent হয় আপনি রিপোর্টিং করবেন, যদি এটা ইন্টিগ্রিটি অফ দ্য ক্যাপিটাল মার্কেটে ভায়োলেট করে সেটা রিপোর্ট করবেন। সিএফএসি এনকারেজ করেছে বাট আপনাকে রিকোয়ার করে নাই। So members and candidates should consult their legal and compliance department for guidance. You are in a dilemma. Should you report this or should you stay silent? Obviously, you must dissociate from the activity. So in এই সম্পর্কিত বিষয়গুলো আপনি ডিসকাস করবেন with relevant people. So additionally, CFA should encourage members and non-members, clients, and investing public to report violations of code and standards by CFA Institute members and CFA candidates by submitting a written complaint. So একটা written complaint আপনি দিতে পারেন CFA Institute professional conduct program কে, যে someone is violating rules and regulations and this is harmful for the market. সেইটা আপনি করতে পারেন, এনকারেজ করেছে CFA Institute, বাট আপনাকে এই পার্টিকুলার কেসে ম্যান্ডেটরি করে নাই। সো ইফ ইউ ডোন্ট ডু দ্যাট, ইউ আর নট ইনভলভিং ইন ভায়োলেশন, বাট CFA Institute এনকারেজ করেছে ফর আপহোল্ডিং দ্য ইন্টিগ্রিটি অফ দি মার্কেট।